So our first performance of the day is going to be Brandon Huff from Break Your Stigma. He's going to be our keynote speaker. So give a big round of applause for Brandon.
Xin chào quý vị. Just kidding. My Vietnamese is terrible, so I'm not going to speak to you guys and torture you guys in Vietnamese. My name is Brandon, and I'm actually from the Bay Area. I was invited by Nina and the New Reese Clinic to come down and speak about my experience with mental health and the current work I do up in the Bay Area. I'm currently a researcher at Stanford University working on a pilot grant for early psychosis prevention. I've also been affiliated and have worked with NAMI, Santa Clara County in San Jose for the past 5 years. And I'm a transitional youth coordinator at Momentum for Mental Health. But that experience in mental health pales in comparison to what I went through in my early adult childhood. I wanted to talk about my experience with mental illness. I was diagnosed with bipolar disorder in 2002, so over a decade ago. I was going to school at Cal Poly San Luis Obispo at the time, and I was studying biology, and I wanted to become a pediatrician like a lot of other young college students in bio. And my junior year, I just started having troubles focusing on my academics. I started to become best friends with whiskey, and that became my counselor, my therapist. Every time I walked by the school counselor, I never went in the door. I had all the warning signs that I needed help, but I was so ashamed and afraid to admit that there was something wrong, and I internalized all my feelings. And finally, I got on academic probation for the first quarter, and it was like a huge shock to me because, I was used to getting like a 4.0, doing very well academically, socially, but the first time I failed, I didn't know how to react. I didn't know who to turn to, and in subsequent quarters, I still didn't reach out, and eventually, I got kicked out of Cal Poly. And that year, I went home to San Jose, moved back, and I still didn't tell my mom. I didn't tell a single soul. I was working at Genentech as a researcher, intern, and I just kept bearing this deep, dark secret in me. So I decided to, that year, make this pilgrimage to Vietnam, to go to the motherland, to go home, discover my roots. I grew up in America, so I thought, I'd do some soul searching, and right when I got there, it was bad. The humidity, I couldn't sleep. I started getting a lot more irritable. My behavior changed dramatically. I started losing weight. I couldn't sleep at all. So from 7 to 8 hours normally a day, I was getting 1 to 2 hours, and I changed to it was like from Bruce Banner to the Incredible Hulk. My mood was completely changed, and my grandma, who was there at the time, was just wondering if I was a jerk or if there was something wrong with me. And she made a call back to the States with my mom. It's like, hey, Brandon, there's something wrong with your grandson, or my grandson, and he needs to get on a plane and go home. So I hop back, get to SFO, and right when I get to the airport, my mom was in shock. I'd lost 18 pounds. I was had rapid cycling thoughts, very grandiose, and my mom didn't know what to do. And a couple of days when I got home, I was checking my email on my computer, my laptop, and for some reason, I thought I had these paranoid thoughts that the FBI was chasing me. So I take my computer, I chuck it in the garbage, right? And my mom knew that something was wrong right away, because I'm like the most frugal person on earth, right? And if I throw away like $1,000 laptop, she's like, okay, something's wrong. She called the cops because she didn't know who else to turn to. She didn't want to have me arrested, but she wanted for me to get help. So when the cops came, instead of taking me to jail or arresting me, they took me to what's EPS, which stands for the Emergency Psychiatric Services in San Jose. I was placed on a 5150, later transferred, and then I got my first diagnosis of bipolar disorder type 1. And this is 12 years ago. And at the time, I had no idea what bipolar disorder was. I didn't know what manic depression was, a mood disorder. I just took my treatment, I took my medication, my antipsychotic, my antidepressant, and mood stabilizer, and I followed the orders, went to my therapist, my psychiatrist, and things were okay after 4 months. So I thought it was a one-time deal. Promised myself never ever to go back to the motherland, ever to go back to Asia, and I lived my life. I eventually got a job in high tech. Is that better? Eventually got a job in high tech and I thought lived a normal and stable life. I was able to buy a condo 4 months after my first hospitalization, and in San Jose that's a big deal. It was over $400,000. It was a big achievement for me, but one of the stressors of owning a home is the mortgage, and I didn't really anticipate that, right? And the mortgage, the insurance, just the financial stress got me to relapse. And this time, when I relapsed, all my symptoms, you know, everybody around me in the Bay Area, you know, saw what I did, and I was ashamed. I thought I was the crazy guy, and I slipped into a deep depression. I don't want to go into detail, but I attempted to take my life not once, but twice. You know, the first time I was in the ICU, I was in a coma for 3 days, and I wish I could tell you that that was my rock bottom, and I snapped out of it, and I turned my life around. I became a researcher at Stanford, but no, it was like 5 or 6 long years after that until, you know, I finally had this epiphany when I was in court in San Jose after an experience of psychosis. I had heard voices for months, and these voices were telling me to go around San Jose and steal things. So I'd go into the Apple store and take Beats headphones and Bose sound docks. And eventually I got caught, and they arraigned me, and I went to court. And my mom was with me. I was older. Most of my friends were very successful. They're doctors, they're engineers at Google, they're lawyers, they're doing very well. And here I was in jail or in court in San Jose, arraigned. It was like the lowest point of my life. And my mom was with me, and she just saw me. She knew that I was at my low point, and she looked at me and she said, Hui, Hui is my Vietnamese name. She's like, Hui, you know, whatever you do in life, however many times you fail or you think you fail, I'm gonna always love you. And that right there was my turning point. It literally broke my heart because it reminded me of all the times that I was sick, that I was hospitalized. It affected my family, you know, it affected my mom. My sister is currently at UCSD studying for finals. She couldn't be here. She was in 7th grade when I attempted to take my life, and I can't imagine how difficult that must have been for my family. So after that, I turned my life around. I went to AA first because I still didn't want to admit that I had bipolar disorder. So I went to AA. I got sober February 24th, 2010. So I just celebrated 5 years. But thank you. But I knew that I needed to address my mental illness. And then I started going to NAMI in Santa Clara County. And I first took the peer-to-peer class, which is like a 10-week recovery education class. And in that class was the first time that I was able to tell people that I lived with bipolar disorder. And the others in the class were, well, you know, they lived with schizoaffective, an eating disorder, and we're all sharing our stories. And, you know, I don't want to be cliche or cheesy, but it was seriously like this huge weight lifted off my shoulders. And after that, I just became more involved with NAMI. And like I said, now I am involved in research at Stanford University. In 2002, I started this online movement called Break Yo Stigma, which if you guys have Instagram right now, go on your Instagram account. You don't have to follow, but definitely if you want more relevant mental health resources and information and memes and stuff, it's just been an online initiative. That's where I actually met Nina, and we've been friends for a little bit over a year. And you know, I'm here, just came down to Orange County yesterday. I have an advisory group at UC San Diego on Tuesday that I'm a part of. But I'm just here to let everyone know, whether you're someone who's diagnosed with a mental illness or a clinician that's serving people that live with mental illness, because I'm both, right? I'm also a professional, and I understand that burnout is very, very real. It's tough. It's tough what we do. Definitely overworked and underpaid, but I want you guys to know from my experience that there is hope. You know, don't give up on an individual. Don't give up on yourself. It took me a very long time to realize that I was worth it, and I'm at a very good place right now, and I'm here to just let people know that they can be too, regardless of what condition they have or what ailment. So that is, I think that's it. I want to thank you guys, and Nina told me to plug Nuru's clinic, so please go over to the booth and check out the mental health resources and play candy pong and darts for prizes and free therapy sessions. So thank you guys so much. Don't give up on anyone. Mental illness is not curable, but is definitely treatable. You can live a very normal, successful life.